Branwen Okpako, filmmaker, welcome to the JSO interview.
Thank you for inviting me.
You are Welsh-Nigerian.
Yes.
You live in Berlin, Germany, but you are here in Kenya to present. You have presented a film called The Education of Auma Obama. Auma Obama being the half-sister of the President of the United States. Tell us more.
Well, to me, she was my friend in film school initially. We met 20 years ago nearly. And we were two of four African students at the Berlin Film School in West Berlin. It was myself, Wanjiru Kinwanjui, Siti Dangaremba, and Auma Obama. And our conversations were always around how do we want to see our continent portrayed in film. And
right, well, I might cut you short. If you do, forgive me. The name Wanjiru Kinwanjui resonates with the Kenyan public.
Yes.
Because she made the battle of, maybe the battle for the sacred tree, a very touching, quaint movie about this idea of cutting down the mugumo tree, which was the great harbinger of culture and tradition. So that's a connection.
Yes.
Right, please,
yes.
Continue.
Well, I actually read that screenplay while she was writing it because we were, as I said, in school together. And it was a very important conversation for me because I was a lot younger than them. They were my seniors and they were very articulate and very accomplished already, all three of them. So Auma was writing her PhD at Bayreuth University, and Siti had already written Nervous Conditions, which is on the list of 100 best novels ever written. And Wanjiru had already made the film Black in the Western World, which was for me a very formative piece of work around, you know, being African and what that meant, you know, in terms of the portrayal of us in the media, but also what role do we want to play in defining ourselves in images. So,
right, I'll take you back one in talking about yourself, because obviously that's the point of departure. You are who you are. I set you up by saying you were Welsh-Nigerian. Tell us more about that.
Well, my mother is from Wales, North Wales. She's a Welsh speaker. And my father is Nigerian, Urobo, from the Delta. And they met in university in the UK. And yeah, I went back to Nigeria. I grew up in Nigeria at the university.
So you grew up in Nigeria?
Yes.
And what the great leap, well, did you choose of itself to go and do film school in Germany? You said, Mum and Dad, I want to go to Germany and become a filmmaker.
No, it was far more roundabout than that. I went to boarding school in Wales. I went to the United World College of the Atlantic. I was lucky enough to gain a scholarship to study there, and that started me off, you know, in the Western world, as so to speak, being away from home. And I followed on by, I met my husband to be there. He's German, and so I studied first at the University of Bristol, and then I moved to Germany to be with him.
Right, so because we're going to return to this whole idea of identity, but already we see in your own makeup, we have Welsh blood, we have Nigerian blood. You marry a German whom I do believe also has Russian blood.
That's right.
So we're going to return to that if we would, but yeah. In addressing this whole idea of making a film, you've made many films,
yeah.
and perhaps you'd be too humble to say that they've been award-winning, including The Education of Auma Obama.
Yeah.
But one of your themes, if I may call it a sort of leitmotif, a German word,
yes.
is this idea of identity.
Yes, you're right to bring it back to me, because obviously having these different cultures swimming around within your own spirit does force you to reflect constantly about who I am and who can I be in the world. And you're growing up, you're looking for yourself every time you put the TV on, or you go to the cinema, or you look at a book or anything. You're looking, where am I in here? And growing up, we felt we didn't see ourselves enough. You know, it's changed now, it's changing, but you know, I'm over 40, so growing up, we really felt as if we were invisible. And the question of visibility then came up, like, how can we find ourselves here? So you're right, all my films go into the question of people and their identities and balancing different identities. And as Africans, even if we don't come from different countries, we do marry different cultures within ourselves due to the colonial experience, due to the influence of the Western world. So we're all multicultural, every African. I think that makes us unique, perhaps, on this planet, that we've got at least 2 or 3 languages, that we're carrying 2 or 3 different cultures within us, that we understand the intricacies of a foreign culture and our own. And I think that's something.
Let me take, when you say we, that sort of generic we, you're talking about a very, there's a grouping there that is also the enjoyers of great privilege. It hasn't been given to every African to travel to Germany and go to film school. So you could be accused, perhaps rather unkindly, of just taking the luxury of, oh my gosh, who am I, and sort of navel gazing. Is that an unkind assessment from some? Is that too cynical?
Well, no, I think, even if my uncle Ikeja, who passed away 2 years ago, he didn't leave his region all his life, and yet he knew a lot about other cultures. He could speak at least 2 or 3 languages, So I think we all, even if we live in the rural areas, even if we don't have, formal Western education, there is an awareness of the rest of the world that Africans generally tend to have.
Right, but I'm being slightly more personal and in fact including myself in that particular grouping.
Yeah.
What role, what justification do people with your privilege, World College, have to comment on the existence of many, of millions?
Well, we comment, we keep it personal. That's what I think. We talk about ourselves, we talk about our colleagues, our peers, we reflect our own experience and hope that by so doing, honestly, if we can resonate with people generally, human beings generally. So I think that's our responsibility.
Is that sort of your working definition of the artist? I mean, if I were to draw you on that, what is the role of the artist? So
yeah, I think the role of the artist is a very practical role. I think that the artist is there to find order in the world and work on it in such a way that people who do not have time to create art or who do not have the mind to create art can benefit from our reflection. It can help people to see the world. I think that's our responsibility. It's a practical responsibility. I was talking earlier to you about the Mbari tradition,
And I wasn't aware of it, so you might repeat what you said to me. What is the Mbari tradition?
Well, while researching another film, I was in the rural areas in Igbo land, and I learned about this goddess called Allah, who is responsible for creativity, for procreation, for fertility within the community. And if there is a problem, if women are not giving birth or the land is not, bringing fruit, the priest will come and say, we need to build an Mbari house to worship this goddess and bring the land back into fruition. And artists are taken off their farms, and others farm their farm for them so that they can create art, so that they can do the sculptures, they can write the songs, they can make the paintings and stimulate, creativity and therefore, get the land moving again. And I think that this gave me a sense of what an artist is. You have a practical role to perform, to stimulate people to be creative and to see the world in a creative way as well.